before I announce our next guest, just a quick announcement. UKTI, our friends at the UK technology team of UK government, are holding Tech City office hours. So they did that in London. LeWeb London in June was very successful. Basically, it's very simple. If you're an entrepreneur, you want feedback from experimented entrepreneurs in London. They had Niklas Zenström and others. I don't know who they are here. But you should check it out. It's from 10 to 4 p.m. today and tomorrow, and it's in the first floor workshop area. Now I'd like to welcome a huge success story and a true legend, for me at least, and I know not only for me, because he's been here as a startup at LeWeb. He's created a startup when he sold it to PayPal, and he became the president of PayPal. Help me welcome David Marcus. So, David, you were here as an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
What was it, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember, but yes.
And you sold. So tell me the story. I'd like to, like you to share that story, because it's not every day that an entrepreneur becomes the president of a company that. How many employees do you have now?
About 13,000.
13,000 employees. Yeah. So from a startup, like having a startup talk at LeWeb in 3 years into the head of. I love the idea. I love the story. Can you tell how did that happen? When you sold to? So tell me about the startup first. It was Zong. It was a mobile payment company.
Yes, that's right. It was a mobile payments company that connected carriers, about 250 of them in 50 countries, to do mobile payments for digital goods. And
you were taking over the world. You really wanted to. I actually remember you wanted to, take over those guys, right? Not only PayPal, but you.
Yeah, we were competing back then on digital payments. Yes, and I moved to Silicon Valley a couple of years after you, and started Zong there. And started working with companies like Facebook and other gaming companies, and the company quickly took off, and we eventually sold the company last year to PayPal.
That's another story of. So are you French?
Well, I was born in Paris, so I'm technically speaking not French, but I was born in Paris.
Okay, so that's another success story for Europe taking over. I think it's an interesting one as well. Why did you sell? Just back to that part of your life.
So look, I mean, I think this is a really interesting thing. Payments is a hard thing to scale. It's easy to have early success and scale the company, and we scaled Zong to a really decent size. But when you start to operate in a bunch of different countries and you need to respect all of the laws, the regulations, you need to be compliant in a ton of countries, and you need to acquire a lot of users, it's really hard to scale. And so it was an opportunity for me to scale the business and do more things around mobile payments at the much larger scale.
So you joined PayPal, and then you have a boss. That's the first, because you've always been an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So you have a boss. How does this feel?
Well, it was interesting, but I had a lot of freedom, so it was okay. And the scale was a new and interesting, challenging thing. And so I was running mobile at first, and it was fun. It was fun. We started working on the PayPal Here product on literally a couple of days after I joined, and that was a fun experience as well. So it was fun.
So how do you become president from there? What happens? Who calls you and says you should be president?
Well, so Scott Thompson, who was PayPal's president when I joined, left to become the CEO of Yahoo. And so John Donahoe, who's the CEO of eBay, took over for a little while. And then 3 months in, just said, on I think it was on a Tuesday, said, Thursday, I'd like to talk to you about that succession thing. And I didn't anticipate that or expect that. And he said, I think you should do that. And it took me a couple of hours to think about it, and I said, I'll respond tomorrow morning. because it's really different than anything I've done before.
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're president of PayPal. You moved from, what was Zong, like 200 employees?
Oh, no, not even. It was sub 100.
Okay, so you have 100 employees, and suddenly you have 13,000. What happens?
Well, things get very different. Things get very different. It's a startup. You still do a lot of stuff yourself, and in a large company, you need to start doing everything through your team, and it's a large team, and culture is a very important thing. So I learned that, and now we're in the process of also changing PayPal's culture. And it's a really interesting experience.
So you had a really fast car that was Zong,
yeah.
And suddenly you had a huge ship that you have to tell people, let's turn right, and does it turn right?
It does. It takes more time. It's not as agile, but the beauty of having a large company like PayPal is we have close to 120 million active users all around the world. We're active in 190 countries. And so when we succeed at something, the scale of that success is such that it's amazing. So, and PayPal is such a fascinating company. If you're a payments geek like I am, you know, there's no better company you want to lead. It's just, I still feel that it's in, you know, it's second inning only. And that there's such an unbelievable potential for the company going forward.
So what is PayPal?
Well, PayPal is a payments company, and about 120 million people use us to pay online and on mobile. Mobile is growing like crazy. We're going to do about $10 billion, north of $10 billion of mobile payment volume this year, 70x growth in the last 4 years.
That's a good growth.
Yeah, it's nice. And it's just an easier, safer way to pay online and on mobile. I mean, when you want to buy something on a mobile phone, you don't want to enter your 16-digit credit card number, your shipping address, and all of these things on a tiny screen. You can just log into PayPal and pay, and that's it. And so, you know, it's better for merchants, and it's more convenient for consumers.
So tell me, what were the first decisions you take as a president? What happens in your head? Because you can't, like, you can't know it all suddenly. If you had 100 employees before, you kind of know what's happening. You kind of know everyone, right? I guess. And there you can't. So what's your priority? What is it that you started changing?
Well, the first thing I started working on was products and design. I'm compulsive obsessive around removing friction out of experiences and making them seamless and delightful. And in a lot of ways, in some of the product experiences that we had, you know, PayPal lost that after a couple of years. And so we worked really, really hard in changing the way we built products. So we used to have 9 different product groups, product managers writing product specifications, throwing that product specification over the wall to a program management organization that would assign engineers to build the products, and then when the product goes live to site, the engineers are reassigned to other things. So what should be the beginning of the product lifecycle is actually the end. So we changed all of that.
So when you ship the product, basically the engineers are disconnected with the user feedback.
Yeah, yes, and by the time you can actually get engineers back to working on the product, it might take 6 months. So it has the adverse effect of having product managers write really complex product specifications, and the products get complicated.
So you have your startup eyes,
yes,
and you're like, that doesn't work.
Yes.
How do you change that?
Well, we just collapsed all of the 9 product groups into one. We appointed a new leader who happens to be Hill Ferguson, who used to run product for me at Zong. We co-locate teams. I mean, that's the only way I know how to build products. You have phenomenal designers, great engineers, and product managers. They sit together in a room. They don't write product specifications if they can avoid it, and they iterate really, really quickly.
No specifications, just iterate.
Absolutely. And that's the only way you can build products, and you can push things out to the market. You can test it with a small fraction of the users, and get feedback because you measure everything, and then iterate very, very quickly on the product. And the new product experiences that we build at PayPal are built that way, and I'm sure that customers will start seeing the difference.
So you would say it's startup culture applied to a 10,000 plus people
Yes,
company.
definitely.
You work with startups. We have thousands here in front of us, and many more online. What do you recommend them to work well with PayPal? What can they do with PayPal? Of course, integrate your mobile and.
Well, you know, we do a ton of stuff with startups, and we're going to do more and more things. And we realize that our developer APIs, our documentation, our sandboxes are not where they should be. But we're changing that. We're really changing that. And actually...
Same here, I guess. You have your startup eyes coming in and saying, oh, hey, I was the startup before, so I know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, culturally, the very important thing is really to think about things outside in, as a customer, not as what's good for a company. And large companies tend to start doing that when they get very big. And culturally, being the customer is really very important. So for developers, we're launching a bunch of new things. We actually have a new beta of the brand new sandbox we're launching in Q1 that, you know, if developers in the room want to test, they can go to our booth and can get details of that. But we're revamping our developer tools. But if I want to give an advice to developers out there, there's tons of solutions that you can build. One of the things we're showing on our booth here is Park Mobile, which enables you to pay for parking in 350 cities from your mobile phone. And so you don't have to have coins with you or anything like that anymore. And when your parking time runs out, you get a notification, and you don't have to go down in the cold and, you know, put a few coins in the parking machine. Again, you can do it all from the comfort of your office with your phone.
Could you add a button to that, which is tell me when the police guy approaches my car and I run out of money?
That's a good idea. I'd pay for that.
Yeah, we could put a GPS tracker on them. And
yeah.
I would pay for that too.
That's a good developer idea.
Especially with the 70 or so dollars that the fine costs in San Francisco. I experienced them.
Well, I mean, my car almost got towed like 2 days ago in Paris, so.
Oh. Well, it's cheaper though. Anyway, that's another conversation. The parking tickets in Paris are way cheaper. For developers, what's competition? Are you like if I launch a startup, let's say a mobile app, and I want to integrate mobile payment in it, I have a choice between the mobile platforms themselves, so the App Store and Google Play, and PayPal.
So it depends what you're doing. If you're selling apps and digital contents, those things are cordoned off by the platform. So if you're on iPhone, you have to go to the App Store. You have no choice. But if you're doing a commerce-related startup where you're buying things that don't have to do with the app itself, it's like, you know, a mobile commerce app or the parking app that I talked about, then you can either open a merchant account and start wanting to process credit cards and become PCI compliant if you want to provide a good experience, or you can just integrate PayPal. And we've acquired a company this year that's called Card.io that enables you to scan credit cards. You just have to put them in front of the camera of the phone and scans the camera in 1 second or less. And we've integrated that into the PayPal experience. So we are now going to launch a solution that enables developers to accept the best type of, to have the best type of experience with credit cards and with PayPal inside of their mobile apps for any form of payment.
That's your direct competition to Square?
No, Square is different. They're providing physical payments at point of sale, so they're actually trying to help small merchants accept credit cards.
So it's the opposite,
and
right?
we do that with PayPal here, which is a similar product, but that accepts more form of payments, and that's live in a bunch of countries, and notably in Japan, where it's very successful now.
Jack Dorsey launched Square on this stage a few years ago. What do you think about how they've grown, and do you think it's a serious challenge for you?
Now, look, we're processing about last year we processed about $120 billion of payments. And this is all online. The offline market is about $10 trillion, so it's 17 times bigger. And we're going offline in a variety of ways, not only for small merchants. We have PayPal here for sole proprietors, small merchants. We have integration into point-of-sale systems with the check-in, so location-based payments that you can also see on our booth, which enables you to launch your PayPal app, drop a little pin, order at the restaurant before you get there, or fast food, and it's waiting for you, and you just have to grab the bag and go out, to hardcore POS integrations and to very large retailers in the US. So we have a much more integrated and end-to-end approach to offline than other smaller competitors, and we feel good about our position in the market.
You're talking like a president of a very large company already.
Well, you know, it's true. I really feel good about it.
But keeping your startup eyes, building the product, which is very interesting.
Yeah, we need to iterate and build products much faster and build better product experiences for me to continue being as confident. So we have hard work ahead.
Are we going to get rid of our wallet?
I sure hope so.
You hope so?
I sure hope so.
Are you planning?
Oh, definitely.
That it's going to happen?
Definitely. Yep. I mean, we're launching a new digital wallet in the US next year and later in Europe, where the long-term view is that you shouldn't carry a wallet. Who wants plastic in an age where you're connected to the internet 24/7 with broadband speeds in on your phone? But it'll take time because there's a whole ecosystem that's in place, and those large ecosystems that didn't change in the past 40 years will take a little bit of time.
And their interest is not to replace their plastic, right?
No, and I think it's just a question of time, but I don't think it'll take as much time as people anticipate. I think that within the next 5 years in dense metro areas, people won't carry wallets anymore.
Tell me about shopping and e-commerce in general, because you have this incredible view of the market. Do you see any? Well, first, what are you doing? I find it kind of what is the innovation in e-commerce and shopping, right?
Well, I think something I love to say is that people love shopping, but they hate paying, and so. The way we're thinking about this is let's build better shopping experiences that takes the payment part of it out of the way. And we're doing that online, on mobile, and offline. And retailers of all sizes are actually being attacked by online retailers because if you're an online retailer, you know everything about your customers. You know which product pages they visit, how much time they spend on each product, the products you put on in your checking cart, and you take out, all of that. If you're a physical retailer, you don't even know who your customers are. You don't even know when they're in your store. They're like ghosts. And so we're developing technologies to help retailers of all sizes compete in this new normal of retail and connect their customers, whether they shop on mobile, online, or offline. It's a multi-channel shopping world now. You've been very generous always with me asking you advice. You always had time. So let's take the minutes we have left and share some tips about entrepreneurship because your success is very impressive. So give me 2 or 3 key things that entrepreneurs creating their businesses should think about. Well, I think the first thing is always choose the shortest path between where you are and where you want to be, and just and try to be as independent as possible on the way. And then, persistence is, to me, the mother of all virtues, or qualities, if you're a startup entrepreneur, right? Because you're going to go from adversity to adversity. You don't know whether your company is going to survive. You need to get funding, etc. And you need to be upbeat and always focus on the outcome to survive and to succeed. And other than that, just again, be the customer and delight your customer with great experience. Understand what real problem you're fixing. So even at the size of PayPal, it's an interesting thing because at the very beginning of PayPal, the company solved a real problem. People used to mail checks in the mail to buy something on eBay. And they had to wait for the check to arrive on the other end, for the guy to cash it in, to ship the product. It would take weeks. And so they had a real problem to fix. Offline, you don't have a real problem to fix. There are tons of ways you can pay. Credit card, debit card, cash. And so you need to fix the shopping experience, but not the payments experience. So for any startup, the focus should really be on what is a hard problem, a really hard problem that plagues the lives of tons of consumers that I can actually really solve.
Which one is that for you? When you say I eat my dog food, right?
Yeah.
So is it payment? Is it when you pay for like Christmas shopping, you don't want to use the Visa card and the Amex and all those and the wallet?
Again, I don't think payments is the issue offline. It is an issue on mobile and online. But offline, it's really the shopping experience. I don't want to wait in line when I go and buy my morning coffee. I just want to get there for the coffee shop to know my usual drink and for it to be waiting for me on the counter and I can just pick it up and leave. That's cool, and that's a real pain point, instead of waiting 15 minutes in the cold to get in and buy my coffee, which is, as you know, in the US it happens quite a bit. So this is a real problem we can solve.
Marissa Mayer is the CEO of Yahoo, and she's here in Post-it. I don't know if you saw, that's pretty cool over there. And you're the CEO of PayPal, so there is this generation taking over, which I think is really fascinating. Last question on the theme, the Internet of Things. So are you doing anything with things that are not your wallet, or how do you see it?
Well, I think that there's going to be a ton of innovation around connected objects that need to accept a form of payment. And again, the parking example is a good one. I mean, it's a dumb piece of metal on the street, and now you can just pay with your mobile phone, and you don't need to connect the device. It's just through the internet, but it's an evolution. And so I think that there are problems out there that can be fixed with connected objects that will accept payments.
What's the best way to keep in touch with you? If I'm an entrepreneur, a startup, of course you are there, so we can talk to PayPal over there.
Yes.
But I know you like to not be in your head of 13,000 people company tower only. You really need to be in touch with people.
Yeah.
So can we tweet you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Twitter at David Marcus, and I use Twitter to solve customer problems and other issues on a regular basis. So feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, I've seen that. You've been pretty impressive on someone having a problem and like going after you on Twitter and just solving it. So that's really cool. Well, David, you're very busy, so I really appreciate you taking the time to join us here. And good luck. Changing such a huge companies is an incredible challenge. So we'll be watching, and we hope to have you back and get some news. Thank you, David.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.